Welcome back, boys. Today we have an interesting one from Steve James. Haven't seen him before. Western society is ruined. Let's ride the collapse. Let's hear what this man has to say.
Hey everybody, welcome back. For those of you new to the channel, I want to welcome you as well. For those of you returning, it's good to see you again. And I'm actually traveling over this holiday weekend, so I'm kind of coming to you as best I can from my car today. But I'm wondering how everybody's doing this happy 4th of July. I mean, I have to admit that as the 4th rolled around this year, and actually in many recent years, I've kind of had a sense of reflection over the way our country is going, the direction that it's going, and taking a look at the economic catastrophe that's essentially happened ever since COVID hit. And
One of the biggest wealth transfers in recent history.
all the businesses going under, just the cost of everything skyrocketing. And the way that everything has gone, what is everybody's hopes for the future? I mean, you end up thinking about that on a day like today. And I remember even in years past, even in my adult years, as, coming into the 4th of July, you'd be thinking about the get-together you're going to do, the cookout you're going to do later, going swimming in the pool, maybe enjoying some time with family.
People kind of don't relax anymore. Does that make sense? It's like something good happens like 4th of July and people still are stressed out because they can't fucking afford eggs. Like
Friends, seeing some fireworks, that would be the type of thing that would be on your mind on a holiday like July 4th. You'd be thinking about that. You would not be thinking about what an incredible catastrophe everything has become. That the inevitable end result of the last 50 years of American misuse of our economy, the way the boomers handled everything, and to be fair, the boomers didn't completely realize, and many of them were being hit with the same media propaganda on a completely different level than we are today. Because I mean, today we're inundated with it everywhere. It's on not just mainstream media, but social media and everything like that. And they didn't completely realize what they were allowing to happen. But now it has gotten to the point to where homes are 5 times the cost. Groceries are exponentially more expensive, just the general cost of living. And this isn't a video about complaining about any of those things. It's about, let's be realistic about where we think our plans are for the future. What do we think is going to happen? What do we plan to do about it? For many of you that are here on the channel, we look at ways to reduce our cost, reduce our debt, do everything that we can to where we lower our overhead every single month so that we can live the life that we want to live. Because I mean, in many regards, that takes discipline, that takes growth in our own personal life. It takes even more than that. It takes real planning to try to do that, because many of us just don't have any hope that it's going to ever change for the better. And I agree with that. I understand that completely. It's probably not going to just change for the better. It's not going to just turn on a dime after the last 50, 60.
no, it won't get better. It will actually get worse. It will get far worse before change starts to happen, and even that will take an incredible amount of time. Like this type of change that needs to happen, this will take many years.
And according to some people's recollection of it, probably a bit longer than 50, 60 years, that things have really been going down the tubes for quite some time, depending on when the dollar separated from the gold standard, or whether or not you view it as certain things that happened in the early 1970s that basically changed the way, essentially, the financial structure of this country. It has now become something where the medical industry is all about profit through insurance.
It's like plague. If I don't remember, if I'm not misremembering, I need to read up on it again. But this kind of started in like the 1920s. Like it was that early, but it wasn't. It didn't have like it wasn't yet ready. If that makes sense, it was just building up.
Rather than actually taking care of people. all the way down to private equity being able to buy into the home market and basically upend everything that we're doing so that new home buyers can't buy homes anymore. And even those of us that are, from Gen X, even if you go through, let's say, a divorce, or you need to move to another part of the country, being able to buy back into the market in a way to where you can be a little bit frugal and still keep some of your money, nearly impossible. So what are your hopes for the future? What are your hopes as we go into this July 4th? And I realize that there's other people from other countries watching this. Same question applies to you. Take a look at the situation of your country, the state that you live in. What are your hopes? I mean, if you're in any type of Western country, you're noticing, I'm sure, that things have spun completely out of control. But it's more important that we address what we can do to try and live our best life about it, because some people might say, well, Steve, you're basically suggesting that we just coast, that we just float along and watch the destruction happen and not try to do anything about it. But I guess that would raise the really important question at that point. What do you think can be done about it? Could you be able to vote somebody into office that's actually going to do what needs to be done to watch out for people that are just trying to live normal middle class lives, that provides opportunity for people that want to come up through, that are in a poorer situation, allows them to come up through and build a better quality of life? It seems like all of that is going away, to me and to many others. To you, how do you feel about that? But to me, it does seem like the opportunities for all of that is becoming less and less and less. And it seems like every single day, there is more and more fees being created by governments, local agencies, our states, pretty much everybody to...
Yeah, you're not voting your way out of this. And no matter who is in power, red or blue, it continues to get worse for the common man, for the people. And now it's kind of blatant. Now they just try to extract as much money from you as possible, because they kind of see that this shit is gonna collapse. So right before it collapses, they want to just extract as much wealth as possible. They've completely given up.
Siphon money off of you in every way imaginable. And that's not even talking about, I have another video up on this channel where we talk about entertainment and like subscriptions and stuff like that, where they're constantly trying to put everything behind a subscription wall and drain money out of you that way. Even if you just want to have a moment of entertainment and try and break away from all this and have some level of distraction, that's assuming you're able to even get any distraction from all this. It's starting to feel like distraction's almost completely out the door as far as today's life is concerned, at least for me. It's very, very hard to find something that you actually genuinely enjoy for a period of time that doesn't feel like there's a political message or something behind it that immediately disengages you. Because when when you watch a good movie or you watch a good television show or a good series on something like Amazon or Netflix or what have you, you get really engaged into it and you're not really, you're enjoying the story and what's going on.
Yeah, and then comes like the blatant political message, or like some kind of girl boss power, I don't need no man moment, and then you're like, this, okay.
And the minute they start introducing a bunch of political propaganda, a bunch of woke stuff, a bunch of stuff like that into it, it immediately disengages you. You don't want to watch it anymore because you're like, oh, why'd they have to do that? Because you know that they're stretching it, that they're trying to virtue signal, that they're trying to introduce a bunch of things into it that just really don't belong there. And so they just ruin it for you in that outset. So it makes it very, very hard for you to enjoy that as far as entertainment. But then back to my other question, what would we do to change it? Could we vote people into Congress and into the Senate that could change it? Now, my personal take is that the whole system, unfortunately, at this point is way too corrupt. And that to some degree, it has to be ridden out until it meets a certain level of destruction and falling apart before anything could ever be changed. Maybe even completely overhauled. And that would kind of be more my stance. Maybe completely overhauled. But as I said before, I'm curious as to how you all feel about this. I've done some of the posts and some of the polls that I put up about it, and it seems like most of you feel the same way. We are in such a bad set of just consequences of the last 50 to 60 years that I don't think there's any way to completely salvage it without things collapsing. And unfortunately, so many businesses have built themselves off the backs of counting on inflation. Their entire profit model is from inflation and expecting the inflation of the cost of homes, the inflation of the cost of everything from everyday products to you name it. Their entire business model is built off of that. And those people have lobbyists, they have lawyers, they have everything set up to make sure that the system never breaks down so they can constantly get their income flow coming in, and they want to pigeonhole it down to the point to where the rest of average Americans, those of us that were born in middle class families, those of us that are maybe even on the poorer end where we don't have as much money, which there's no judgment there. I mean, you know, people rise and fall through those class sets quite a bit unless you're in the mega rich, which they tend to kind of stay there because they leverage everything to where they're to hold it in that position. But what do you expect to happen with that? You know, do you expect there to be a possibility of change? And as I said, I don't personally feel like it's possible. I feel like it's way too corrupt, and I think it's controlled by the lobbyists, lawyers, the corporations that basically have every politician that makes it up through the ranks and gets enough funding and support to actually get into office is pretty much already bought and paid for. They're working for somebody. Somebody gave them money to be able to overcome the opposition and get them into the place that they're in to allow this to happen. So my personal stance has been reducing my overall footprint and doing everything that I could. At one point, I even was sleeping on a couch with somebody to save on money as I built the cabin that I lived in. I cut loose of as much debt as I possibly could. I don't buy things that I don't need. And if I do want something, I try to find a way to own it in a way to where there's no money or very little money, if at all, owed on it. And then I seriously ask myself, do I need those other things? Now, you might say, well, Steve, doesn't that reduce your quality of life? And I will tell you this right now, I would never, ever change what I've done. I do not regret it. In fact, the only thing I regret is that I didn't do it sooner. And I bought back my time. Buying back your time where you essentially have your life, you have the ability to have flexibility every single day. Buying back your time is paramount. It is the most penultimate, it is the ultimate place you can get to. Buy back your time so that you are in charge of your life, which means therefore you are now in charge of your own mental health. And this is not preaching some sort of ideology or here's my course where I can tell you how to do all of this. This is just simple, plain logic that if you think it through, you realize this is where we all, any one of us that wants to be free thinking, that wants to have any peace in our life, that wants to have any control of our life, and wants to have anything that will actually bring any level of happiness to our lives. We're not completely run into the ground like we're cogs in a machine that once we get worn out, they toss aside. That is the only option really left. And that's okay, though. As long as we know where we stand, it's always okay. And as long as we're not lying to ourselves, as long as we still have the ability to question. Anyway, that's it for today. And as I said before, I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Good video. Let's check some comments. Those with eyes saw this long before 2020. You cannot vote your way out of tyranny. It was ruined long ago. What we see today is the last hours of a party that has gone on far too long. Facts, there are a lot of traitors in this country. Nearly every law in this country is put in place to protect the corporations under the guise of your safety. I have 0 friends and did nothing today except not go to work. Okay. I've checked out of modern society. Once I got a divorce, I stopped being a workhorse for a narcissistic woman that supports her frivolous to support her frivolous, unrealistic lifestyle. I realized I needed to stay home and save as much money as I can and take care of myself. That was the best decision I've ever made, and in a I am in a better place now than I've ever been with my blood pressure is better than it has ever been. Welcome to the United Corporations of America. Normal people are starting to realize we cannot vote our way out of this. They say we will own nothing and be happy. They got the own nothing part right. Yeah, because now all the games you have, I mean, you just buy licenses for them. You have them on Steam. You don't have a physical copy of anything. You don't have movies. You don't really, everything is like digital now. With how bad things are getting with what he was talking about with like subscriptions and stuff, piracy is actually coming back. Uh, it's starting to get popular again because now people don't want to waste their money anymore. They started to just pirate everything. Yeah, anyway, boys, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I catch you boys on the next one. Take care of yourself.